We go way back and think about when this music started in the early 20th century. Tuba was the bass instrument in the original Dixieland bands in New Orleans because it was pretty hard to carry that through the streets. Bass saxophones, baritone saxophones, they took the role of playing those bass notes that were integral, of course, to some of the chords that were being played and utilized. Bass players, like drummers, were kind of relegated to the background of a lot of the Dixieland bands in the early years, and even some of the earlier actual jazz bands as Dixieland progressed. They weren't allowed to do a lot, I should say that, not that they weren't able. So bass players and drummers were really there to keep time more than anything else. But as years progressed, drummers and bass players came out, so to speak, and they expressed themselves musically and explored their own virtuosity, as it were. Probably drummers a little before bassists, I would say. In the early years, a couple of drummers, Gene Krupa and those guys who had their own bands. So if you have your own band, nobody can tell you not to play. It's your band. So I'm Gene Krupa, I'm going to feature myself, or Buddy Rich in later years, and of course those kind of drummers, which is how jazz progressed from those early Dixieland and then early swing era, that music, to then swing bands and big bands. There were a couple bass players who really rose above the ranks as upright bass players. There were also a couple of amazing musicians on the electric bass. Coming to my mind immediately is Jaco Pastorius and Stanley Clarke as two of those guys. Of course, there are many more, but just two of the names that really excelled and propelled this music to different places and gave it kind of a real serious identity of its own. Andy Lalasis Quartet.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you to Dr. Michael Pedicin for allowing us to for allowing us to be here to play for you guys. It's an honor and a thrill. And bass has finally made it. It's here. And we can play just like horn players now. Not me, but yeah. But so we can actually play melodies and stuff now. You see a bunch of different basses here. I'd like to first introduce Bob Fowler. He's my partner in crime today. And he's awesome. Can you start that band for me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. To my left here is Vic Stevens. Greatest drummers on the planet. Every time I get a chance to use him, I do. He's awesome. Okay? Demetrios Pappas on keys. Just flew in from where? Minnesota? Milwaukee this morning to be here. He happens to be music director for Smokey Robinson. Awesome musician. We go way back to the early 80s and even before casinos. So sit back and enjoy our little trip.
Thank you.